Yeah.
Okay.
Of course. So, first question. Who was he? Who was your father?
Well, my father was John J. Wolen. He was born July 3rd, 1913. He enlisted in the, he was drafted into the Army in 1941, went in as a private, worked his way up to tech sergeant, and in 1943, when he was almost ready to be released, the war became a lot more significant, and he was held over. During that period, he went to OCS, Officer Candidate School, and graduated from with the rank of second lieutenant. My father served with the U.S. Army. He spent the majority of his time with the 101st Airborne Division. He specifically was a supply officer in the 801st Airborne Maintenance Company, and he was responsible for the maintenance of all the guns, ammunition, whatever armaments the division needed. He was responsible for proper maintenance and supply of those armaments. My father was involved in the European theater. He did a lot of his training at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and Aberdeen Proving Ground in Maryland. Then his outfit was shipped over to England for the staging area prior to D-Day. He was in England for several months prior to the embarkation. My father was all through Europe. The initial battle was D-Day. He landed on, it was either D-Day or D+1, and they were originally supposed to land on Omaha Beach, but I believe he ended up landing on Utah because of the confusion during that time. The fighting was so intense. I guess he was really lucky that he landed at all. After D-Day, they spent probably about 6 to 8 weeks setting up their shop and their stores on the coast of France. And shortly after that, for a short period of time, they went back to England, probably to be re-outfitted and to pick up reinforcements. When they came back to France, I believe he was in Belgium, Holland, certainly Germany. He saw Hitler's Berchtesgaden, and he was also at the concentration camps. He saw them firsthand. I guess the biggest, after D-Day, the biggest battle would have been Bastogne, the Battle of the Bulge. Where he spent the entire time there, just outside of Bastogne, and then his unit had to fall back as the Germans were encircling. And he spent the rest of the battle in Bastogne, but the fighting was very intense. He was lucky to survive. It got down to hand-to-hand combat, and there was a time that all the soldiers in Bastogne, the American soldiers were down to 11 rounds of ammunition each before the weather broke. Once the weather broke, the Army Air Corps was able to drop supplies, ammunition, and they were able to hold on, maintain the fight. The Germans never thought they would lose and be kept out of Bastogne. Without Bastogne, their push through was just devastated. Shortly during that time, after I guess the first 7 or 8 days, I'm not certain which day, but General Patton of the Third Army marched his troops, I believe it was over 100 miles. And they didn't even stop to rest or form up. They went straight from a 100-mile march right into battle. And they broke through the German lines at Bastogne. That's my recollection from some stories that my father told me, a lot of reading that I've done. And my father wasn't the type of person to talk about the battles or the war.
Once there was a night